Now, Benjamin Netanyahu has admitted that Israel has not been successful in minimizing civilian casualties in Gaza, but he lays the blame squarely at the door of Hamas. He said the terror group clearly didn't give a hoot about the Palestinians as it is using them as human shields. Meanwhile, Israeli troops claim to have found a tunnel shaft used by Hamas terrorists at Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital, which has been subject to an IDF military operation over the last few days. To discuss this further, let's speak now to Israeli government spokesman Eylon Levi. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Shall we start with those comments from the Israeli Prime Minister there, your Prime Minister, suggesting that unfortunately they have not been successful, Israel has not been successful in limiting civilian casualties. What do you say to that?
So I should clarify. First of all, the Israeli army has been phenomenally successful in minimizing civilian casualties given the nature of the war that we are facing. On October 7th, Hamas declared war with that horrific massacre of over 1,200 people and decided to fight that war from inside densely populated areas. We have uncovered tunnel shafts underneath children's bedrooms. We have found rocket launchers underneath little girls' mattresses. We've found rocket launchers with cables that lead into mosques, and just yesterday, we eliminated Hamas terrorists hiding inside schools. That is the nature of the dangerous urban battlefield where Hamas has dragged us into this battle to target the terrorists who perpetrated October 7th. Now, we're really setting a gold standard for counterterrorism in urban areas in the efforts that we have taken to get civilians out of harm's way. It's been over a month that Israel has been urging civilians in northern Gaza to leave. We've secured humanitarian corridors and our soldiers have been attacked by Hamas as we provide safe passage for Palestinians to leave. We've put in place tactical pauses in order to encourage Palestinians to get out of harm's way because we don't want to hurt them. We want to hurt the terrorists who are hiding behind them. Now, obviously, have we been successful in bringing civilian deaths to zero? Absolutely not. That is the nature of Hamas fighting from inside densely populated areas, urging women and children to stay because it tells them we want you to martyr yourselves. We want to sacrifice our people on the altar of jihad. These are Hamas's words, not ours. But have we been successful in minimizing civilian casualties, given how many people could have been hurt had we not gone above and beyond and out of our way, surrendering the element of surprise, surrendering other operational advantages in order to get civilians out of harm's way? Absolutely. We've made efforts that no army in history has made to get civilians out of harm's way. You know, we said from the beginning of this war, Hamas is worse than ISIS. We will destroy Hamas like the world destroyed ISIS. And when 86 nations ganged up on ISIS a decade ago in Mosul and Raqqa and did to Mosul and Raqqa what they did to Mosul and Raqqa, including the UK, I don't remember any British troops on the ground having ISIS firing RPGs at them as they secure safe passage for innocent Syrians and Iraqis to leave. So we've gone above and beyond, and we're very proud of our efforts to protect the other side civilians from their own terrorist leaders' attempts to endanger them.
Eylon, Israeli troops have claimed to have found this tunnel shaft that's being used by Hamas terrorists at Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital. Now, there has been huge international concern about this hospital in terms of babies being affected and in terms of the ongoing fighting. We're looking at footage here now from the IDF. You have the problem in Israel of people seeing footage like this and not believing it to be true or denying the existence of these tunnels underneath these hospitals. What are you doing to combat that in terms of the PR battle, which is so important? We do have Western countries speaking out now against Israeli actions. You must be worried about Israel losing international support in this fight against Hamas.
Emily, there are still people who are denying the atrocities on October 7th.
Yeah.
There are still people denying that on October 7th, Hamas invaded Israel and brutally massacred, tortured, mutilated, burned, beheaded, raped many, many, many Israelis. We still have people denying the reason that we are in this war in the first place. And so it's not surprising that as Israel exposes Hamas's war crimes and exposes the way that Hamas has cynically embedded itself in civilian areas, hiding underneath hospitals, that people are going to deny that too. Because there are simply many people in the world who do not want Israel to defend itself against the terrorist monsters who perpetrated October 7th. Now, in the last few days, we've exposed evidence of how Hamas is hiding under hospitals that international agencies and officials for many years and in the last few days have been in complete denial about. We've shown the evidence. It's right there. And as the days move ahead and it becomes safe to do so, I hope we'll be able to show the full extent of Hamas's takeover of the Shifa hospital. And I'll tell you that a lot of activists and NGOs and international officials are going to look very, 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 very silly when the clear extent of Hamas's takeover of that hospital becomes clear, and it becomes evident just how long they have been covering up. They have been covering up for Hamas's war crimes and its cynical exploitation of medical facilities. This is outrageous. Hospitals must, of course, be protected. They must never be used as basis for military activity. And we're going to continue exposing the evidence that Hamas has been doing exactly that.
You know, I'd like to get your view on the domestic situation in this country, here in the United Kingdom, because as you will have most likely seen, there have been a huge number of pro-Palestinian and anti-Israel protests, particularly in our capital, in London. Now, the leader of the Commons here, Penny Mordaunt, has expressed her concerns that many MPs are actually under threat. Now, this is following a vote on a Gaza ceasefire that took place this week. One Labour MP had a massive protest outside her constituency office. Many people chanting for her out. Labour Party, shame on you, because she did not vote to back a ceasefire. What do you make of what you're seeing in places like the United Kingdom, in London? What are your thoughts on these protests that continue and continue and continue?
Obviously, I can't comment on domestic UK politics other than to say the United Kingdom government has been absolutely solid from day one in saying Israel has not only a right to defend itself, it has a duty to defend itself, and the United Kingdom wants Israel to win. That was a crucial statement from Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, because the UK understands that jihadi terrorists can't massacre 1,200 people in half a day and get away with it. And democratic nations have to defend themselves, and we have to defend ourselves not only for our security, but the security of the West as well. And as for those protests, I have to say we are absolutely disgusted by the outpouring of celebration and jubilation that we have seen on streets of Western capitals around the world, taking the side of Hamas, taking the side of the terror organization that on October 7th, you know, we're coming up to the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, committed brutal acts of rape against Israeli women and girls. We have eyewitness accounts of morgue workers who say that they found girls who were raped so brutally that their bones were broken. We have eyewitness testimony of women who were shot in the head while they were being raped. And anyone who is going on the streets of London or Paris or Berlin or any capital city and is calling for a ceasefire, is calling for us to abandon our 30 stolen children in the hands of pedophile rapists in tunnels in the Gaza Strip, and to stop defending ourselves and to leave in place the terror regime that is promising to do that again. And we are absolutely disgusted that anyone is making excuses for Hamas, and anyone who is not standing foursquare behind our obligation to defend our people from the terrorist group that is threatening to invade again and murder, butcher, rape, behead, torture, and mutilate our people again. So we've been clear from day one. This is a moment of moral clarity. It's a moral test for the world. Are you with humanity, or are you with barbarism? Are you with civilization or savagery? And it's tragic that so many people have decided to do something that feels good rather than does good, and call for a ceasefire. You know what? We're also trying to end this war. But we're trying to end this war in a way that makes sure Hamas can never hurt our people again, and we don't get dragged into this same cycle of violence.